What's up, y'all? This is John Mende, and welcome to Deal Team 6, the podcast.
Let's go.
What's up, everybody? John Mende here, Deal Team 6, the podcast, episode 6, coming live and direct here today. Really excited about today's episode. Today, we're going to be introducing something that's a very, very relevant topic here today, and we're going to keep it super simple in how can we create value using AI, in particular ChatGPT, in our sales processes. One of the things that I've found really the most annoying when working with phone sales teams and workshop teams and client service, customer support teams and coaching teams is really the documentation of interactions with the clients we work with, right? And I think that's so important because in this sea of offers, in this sea of companies, people who are investing time and money into a brand and a product, they want to feel heard, they want to feel taken care of, and they want to feel like they are one-in-one individual, right? And one of the biggest things, especially in a sales department, is I've seen so many times the lack of urgency, the lack of consistency, and the lack of attention to detail in how we document notes from our client and prospect interactions. And so my goal today is to share with you a really great bulletproof tool that will keep everybody in your company and in your teams in alignment with communication. B, are going to help your clients and prospects feel heard, individualized, and taken care of. And C, this will also be a tremendous time saver. So think about that. Better client interaction, more documented processes, more efficient with our time. What the hell else would we want in our day-to-day sales cycles? So before we get too far into it, thankful for everybody pressing play. Please, if you're getting any value from this show, rate it, add a comment, share it on your social medias. We're building this brand completely from scratch, and every episode picks up a bit more and more momentum. But without your shares, without your insight, without reaching out to your community that you feel could pull value from this, this is not possible. So again, I just want to express gratitude. Please continue to pay it forward. And without further ado, let's dive into Deal Team 6, Episode 6, introducing AI into our sales sequences. Let's rock and roll. All right, so as we set the stage, there's two things we want to be aware of. So number one, as the business owner or entrepreneur, as the sales leader or the sales rep or sales pro, step number one is you want to make sure that you have the ChatGPT app downloaded on your phone. It's free. You need that on your phone, right? So create your free account if you haven't already. Number two is you always also want to have that ChatGPT website bookmarked on your computer, okay? And the reason we want this in two parts is we're going to use our phone as the communicator, as the walkie-talkie. And we're going to use our computer to then be our data collector, okay? So for those that aren't too familiar with ChatGPT, one of the really neat features is you can actually talk to it. So instead of having to type your thoughts or be perfect with your sentences or craft notes, emails, whatever it may be, you can just have a free-for-all with your phone as the walkie-talkie and talk your organic thoughts into ChatGPT. These thoughts don't have to be perfect. They don't even have to be complete sentences. And what I mean by that is you can just get lost in rambling. And because ChatGPT is so process-driven with their AI, they're going to make and be able to really transpose all of the information you're feeding it and decipher it into really clear and articulate thoughts. So again, you want the app on your phone, you want the website saved on your computer, and this is how it's going to work. So if I'm speaking from the business owner's perspective, one of the biggest challenges we have as an organization is client communication, the client journey, client interaction, and making sure as a lead goes from marketing to sales to support to fulfillment, that person, that client, that prospect is feeling individualized. They are one-on-one in this experience. They feel heard, they feel taken care of. And so the best way to do that is to have really clean, clear, and documented notes on everything the company and each individual involved in the company should know about the said prospect or client. Okay. So in my experience, right, top line, I was a part of a leadership team where our phone sales team was doing anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million in high ticket sales per week. We had 6 to 10 live workshops going on around the country that were selling high ticket sales as well. And those were 2, 3, 4x the amount of volume and clients that were acquired. And then all of these new clients, we're talking dozens and dozens of new high ticket clients on a week to week basis, are having to be fulfilled, right? So they're having to be onboarded, they're having to be scheduled, they're starting to work with coaches. And so this creates a lot of moving pieces where any form of gap in communication, A, can negatively impact the customer experience, B, which could hurt your brand or company, and C, could lead to unsatisfied clients, which could lead to unproductive work, which could lead to cancels, which could lead to refunds, which ultimately are all negative and bad things, which you would all agree. So the challenge with that is like documenting our notes. Let's be frank here. Regardless of what seat we sit in, documenting our notes, it's annoying as shit. It takes time. We have to think too hard. We have to stop our flow, especially in the sales cycle. If I'm in the flow, the last thing I'm wanting to do is stop and put meticulous notes into a CRM to interrupt my flow process. So a lot of times reps will skip notes, reps will have abbreviated notes, and there'll be gaps in communication, which again impacts the client journey, not just when a negative or a frustrated client calls in or raises their hand, but in the handoffs to different departments. And so ChatGPT, it gives us a solution. It gives us a really simple solution. And if we just sit in the sales department only, because I think that's the most critical area where flow is so important and we don't interrupt this cycle. If we sit in sales, today I'm going to show you exactly how we can increase flow, right? Not just stay in the same flow state. God forbid we're interrupting flow, but more importantly, increase flow while increasing productivity and while increasing our documentation. This is going to be a simple episode. It's simple to implement, but it is an absolute game changer in your books of business. So without further ado, this is what we do. We grab our phone, right? So let's say I just got off a call with Jim Smith, right? So all I do is I grab my phone, I pull up ChatGPT, and I open a new channel or thread. I hit the microphone, because when I hit the microphone on the ChatGPT, I can literally just free thought and organically dump information. And here's an example of what that'll sound like. So I hit the microphone and I say, I just got off the phone with Jim Smith. Jim is a high school teacher. He's married to his wife, Kathy, who is a stay-at-home mom. They have 3 kids. They're looking into investing in real estate because they want to strengthen their retirement. Jim doesn't feel he's at his retirement goals. In fact, he'd like to hang up his teaching credentials here in the next 3 years. Jim is a very dry person. He's hard to read, right? Kathy's very reserved and quiet, but I can tell when I ask questions that there's a deep and strong desire to take the next steps. We did financial discovery on our call. We went through a goals exercise, and we left our call with me sending them an email to work on a goals exercise that they're going to send back to me, and we are scheduled for a follow-up call. Okay? So boom, those are pretty shitty notes, but what I'm doing is I'm hanging up the phone, and then as I'm in flow, I am just talking to ChatGPT, letting them know with my free thoughts exactly what happened on the call and all of the most impactful, important information that we would want to document and organize. And this is so much better than typing the notes out in the CRM where I have to process, I have to think, I have to make sure things are bullet pointed out correctly. It's live, free-flowing content. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to record a second prompt into ChatGPT, and I'm going to simply say, hey, given the information I just shared with you, can you please put together bullet pointed, clean and clear, simple notes that I could document in my CRM so that my team is on pace for my next call? Something of that nature. Basically, I'm telling ChatGPT, hey, all of that gibberish I just gave you, can you give me clean bullet point notes on what happened in my last call? And then also give me action steps for my following call. And ChatGPT is going to spill out perfectly bullet pointed notes and summaries of all the gibberish I just threw its way. Okay? So now why it's important to have ChatGPT bookmarked on your computer is now I just refresh the page and I copy and paste exactly what the prompt gave me into my CRM. So remember, I'm using my phone as the walkie-talkie. I never want to type anything because that messes up my flow. That interrupts the transition to my next call. I want to use what I'm good at, my creative thinking, my voice, my inflection, to keep the flow going. And then I refresh the ChatGPT site on my computer. I copy, I paste into my CRM, and boom, I'm on to the next one. Okay, so let's stop right there. Think about what we just did. Old school versus new school. Old school hangs up call, starts typing on the keys, starts articulating notes, and then boom, there's an interruption. A call comes in. I'm behind for an appointment. My buddy pops into my office and asks me a question and I get sidetracked. Me documenting new school, my verbal thoughts to ChatGPT in real time, taking 60 seconds, the second I get off the phone, to use it as a walkie-talkie to document my organic thoughts, and then prompting it to create a clean summary that then I just copy and paste into my CRM. Now my note-taking is 1 to 2 minutes, right? My note-taking is 1 to 2 minutes. It's infinitely more precise, and it's more accurate and heartfelt. So now when I go to my second call with the prospect, I've got all of my perfect notes in the CRM, and I know exactly where I'm leaving off, right? Maybe in my notes I said, hey, one thing to remember is that Jim loves the Denver Broncos, and he's super excited that they drafted Bo Nix as their next quarterback, and he's really hoping that he can take them back to the glory land of, where John Elway had them. Right? If I'm doing 50, 100 calls a day, or if I'm running 6, 10, 12 appointments a day, 5, 6 days a week, I'm not going to remember those individualized talking points. But if I pull up my CRM and I'm like, oh shit, it's Jim, Denver Broncos, Bo Nix, let's go. Now I've triggered my brain to have instant rapport with Jim, and I'm able to pull from those files and know exactly where I left off. Because human nature is I am going to remember what I speak much more than what I limp through and type. Okay? Now, transitioning to, client services and support, and if you're in the coaching industry or any type of fulfillment, man, I'll tell you what, you want to create some culture, you want to create a buy-in and some trust and some love between sales and all other departments. Being gangster with this type of documentation will absolutely bond departments. So not only is this going to impact the client, where now, again, they are one of one, but the departments are going to work together a lot more fluidly. And guess what? I'm going to teach client services this same exact process. I'm going to teach my coaches or my fulfillment team this same exact process. And now every note that's going into our CRM is organic. It's free flowing. It's in real time. The second we're off the call, we're organically sharing our thoughts and thus creating a greater impact. I've seen reps that take like 5, 10, 15 minutes to type in notes. I've worked with way too many reps that put in no notes, right? They have all of these calls and you pull up the CRM and you're like, what the hell? There's nothing in here. And everywhere in between, what I've never seen the old school way is the sales rep that uses their time to their highest capacity, that is bulletproof accurate with their notes, and is in and out of conversations without interrupting flow. It's just human nature. It's impossible when you have this start and stop formula. So I promise you, anybody listening on this call, if you're a business owner, if you're a sales leader or a sales manager, Hell yes, if you're in sales, any other department, implement this today. It's the easiest training in the world. Your teams will love you for it. Your clients will love you for it. It is an absolute game changer. All right, so action steps. So action step number 1, if you don't have it, download the ChatGPT app on your phone. It's free. Create an account. Step number 2, bookmark the ChatGPT website on your web browser, your Google Chrome, your Safari, whatever you use. And then step number 3, put this thing to work. Do not type, only talk, organic thoughts, keep the flow going, copy and paste, keep it moving. Lastly, if you found this valuable, share the show, send it to a friend, send it to a colleague. Most importantly, if you could rate, if you could comment, if you could subscribe to the channel, to the show, continue to pay this message forward, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. We've got a lot more to come here. Super excited about introducing AI and ChatGPT into our sales sequences. So again, y'all, my name is John Mende. This is the Deal Team 6 podcast. Until next time, everybody have a great, great day.